Hey, good evening, everyone. And once again, thank you for joining us this evening for our bi weekly guided meditations and Dharma talk. And this week's um, bi weekly talk is on judgment of ourselves, right? Or self judgment, and how detrimental that can really be to our own mental well being and our own balance and harmony with how we just go about life. So today is February 7th, 2022, and I am humbled that you are here watching me, whether you're watching me live or um, watching on the replay. These are always pertinent. Doesn't matter when, right? The message is always positive and uplifting, and so whenever you need it, the replays are always out there. So you're always welcome to to join us whenever you feel the need to. But why don't we start off with our bi-weekly guided meditation? We'll talk about letting go of self-judgment. And so go ahead and begin by just taking your moment to get your body settled into a nice, comfortable position. You may close your eyes or keep them slightly open with a soft focus, looking downward a few feet in front of you. Breathe in. And breathe out. You're invited to allow a half smile to rest on your face as well. These will be enjoyable times that we spend with ourselves. So go ahead and just get that little smile on your face. Go ahead and allow your spine to lift and your shoulders to soften. Go ahead and soften your belly as you begin to settle in as well. Breathe in. And breathe out. And then let's meditate on letting go of that self-judgment. And go ahead and take a moment to just bring to your awareness a time where you feel that you were too hard on yourself. It could be from a test that maybe you scored poorly on. Maybe it was a time when you burnt food for a large gathering of some sort. Perhaps it was when a relationship ended. Or maybe it was an intention or an aim that you had that you just didn't complete when you set out to start. Just some suggestions. Breathe in. And slowly exhale out through your nose. And think about how these thoughts that you conjured up, diminished your well-being, those negative sayings that you said to yourself. They more than likely did not inspire you to do better the next time. So instead, let's bring our awareness to what you were able to achieve. Go ahead and bring up that situation, whatever it was for you. For example, suppose you wanted to complete 10,000 steps in one day, but you discovered at the end that you were only able to accomplish 8,000 of those steps. And then when we think back on that, that's still a wonderful accomplishment. There are still some people out there who are not even able to walk a single step, and that single step could be their aim. Think about what you were able to accomplish. Breathe in. Pause. And slowly exhale. Now, bring kind awareness to what you were trying to achieve, whatever that goal was, whatever that intention was, or that aim. Did you set yourself up for a positive outcome to begin with? Did you give yourself a realistic time frame to complete your intention? Was this the first time you tried this activity? There are many factors to consider, but it's always important to treat ourselves with kindness. But no matter what you did your best. And that is worthy of recognition. Judgment is a controlling behavior that does not allow us to experience the moment with peace, clarity. Speak to yourself with loving kindness. Speak to yourself with compassion. Speak to yourself with empathy. Breathe in. Pause. And slowly exhale. Go ahead and begin to open your eyes just slowly and reorientate yourself to your surroundings before you move about. Bring yourself back into the present moment where we are, safe and at ease. Very nice. Very nice. So self-judgment. But what is self-judgment? If we think about it, take a moment and just think. If you were to define how you judge yourself, is there a quality or a quantity that you give to yourself? Let's consider some examples of where we may give some self-judgment towards ourselves. And we can think about how we compare ourselves to, say, a wealthy or a famous person, someone who we may consider successful. How do we compare ourselves with them? Do we judge ourselves towards that person? How do we compare ourselves or make a judgment when we see maybe someone who has limited means? Maybe it's someone who's asking for change at, a road intersection. Maybe it's someone standing in line, in a food line, for some support. Do we judge them? And how do we relate to that person? How do we judge ourselves in that manner? Is it something that's positive or negative? Most often, self-judgment it's a controlling behavior, right? And it belittles ourselves as human beings because we are comparing ourselves, perhaps very unfairly, towards this other person. Doesn't matter who they are, but it can belittle us, make those seeds of unworthiness inside us begin to sprout. And it's also very critical. It criticizes, right? Think about, I'm not good at this, right? It could be the first time you picked up a baseball and you threw it. And maybe somebody laughed at you. It was the very first time. Or maybe it was a football or soccer ball, whatever you choose to call it. Maybe it was their first time kicking it and you missed. I'm no good at this. That's criticism of yourself. Could be the very first time. And so self-judgment does not allow us to blossom, to grow in a positive direction. It doesn't allow us to see the sunlight, to see the benefit. Now, that does not mean we cannot evaluate ourselves, right? It doesn't mean that we cannot find ways to improve our well-being and so forth. But it's the not being negative towards ourselves. And so what are some ways, some pathways, some tenets or precepts that we could use to begin to let go of self-judgment? Well, fortunately, the Buddha has given us eight steps, and we'll talk about 3 of them today, right? Along that noble eightfold path. And first is really just right thought, right? Right thought. Right? And again, we can constructively reflect on our actions, and we should. That is how we grow. That is how we develop ourselves, through constructive, right? Something buildable, a buildable analysis, right, of what we have just done. It's the first time I picked up this baseball and I threw it 3 feet. Instead of saying, I'm no good at this, I'll never be a baseball player. Pick up the ball and say, hey man, I just threw that ball 3 feet. 2 seconds ago, it was on the ground, wasn't going anywhere, right? Or maybe you took a test and again, you didn't score as well as you liked. And that's a valuable lesson in and of itself. So instead of saying, I'm no good at calculus 3, or I'm no good at organic chemistry, or I'm no good at world history or baking, whatever it is, right? You learned what not to do. And sometimes we can learn very many valuable, positive lessons in what not to do in order to be successful or to be happy. Success is really just happiness. It's not about the acquisition of more things. It is a beautiful garden that grows inside of us. And so right mindfulness is another step on our pathway towards letting go of self-judgments. And are our thoughts, we can think about them, are our thoughts truly reflective of the situation? Very often, when we experience something that maybe our expectations, right, didn't come to fruition, right? That's a whole nother talk, expectations. But very often, when something negative happens to us, it's raw at that particular time. And so we may not be looking at it, right, with the eyes of distance and time, perspective. Right when we are in the middle of that challenging or very hard situation, that's where we tend to come up with those self-criticizing statements. And sometimes we even may hide them in humor if we're with someone else. Sarcasm, right? One of the quick little things that comes to mind, oh, that's going to leave a mark, right? A little sarcastic saying to try to mask, those seeds of criticism with a little bit of humor. So it's important that we not belittle ourselves. So right mindfulness, right? Looking at the situation with the eyes of distance and time or perspective. Sometimes that's where the value comes in, is not necessarily in that immediate moment. And then right action, right? And that's through the mindful breathing, right? That meditation gives us. That's where we can develop the balance and the peace and the calmness that is what we are truly seeking. Whenever we set out to do something, we want it to come to fruition, right? But that's a controlling behavior. And again, that's another talk that we'll bring up again. But it's through the mindful breathing of being aware. I am in the midst of this particular emotional moment. And so before I criticize myself, I will just take a deep breath, breathe in and breathe out, right? That's a right action, right? And it comes with time, right? But the fact that you're here watching this really shows an important step for you, that you want to learn, that you want to grow, that you do not want to judge yourself negatively. You don't want to criticize or belittle yourself. So that's where the mindfulness, that right action in this case, begins to manifest, begins to grow and blossom. So that mindful breathing, I recognize that I am starting to belittle myself or criticize myself. I will stop and I will sit here and take my mindful breaths, breathing in and breathing out. So just beginning to recognize when we are criticizing or being too hard on ourselves. It can be hard sometimes, right? When we're new at this practice, recognizing these hard emotions, it can be hard. And so that kind of, that'll be the end of our Dharma talk tonight. And just to briefly talk about some of our upcoming events, right? Our calendar is steadily getting filled with all of these wonderful events for the summertime as we begin to get our 2022 season underway at our center for the outdoor activities, right? For the silent retreats that we offer from May to September. So they're always the last Sunday of the month. Go ahead and check them out. That's on our website. We also have wonderful, wonderful weekly sanghas, right? For all types of people who just want to join us. And we have them for specific groups as well. We have our healing sanghas, right? We have sanghas for veterans and our rainbow sangha and our teen sangha. So you're more than welcome to sit with us for any one of those meeting times, and our specific times for each one of them are listed on our website. We do ask that you register. You can register anonymously, right? When you sign in, you can sign in anonymously and sit with us, and we do our guided meditations on a weekly theme to help bring that healing and focus into our lives, so we can achieve that balance and peace that we are trying to seek. Our next Dharma talk will be on February 21st, and that one will be titled Letting Go of judging others. So this week we focused on letting go of judging ourselves. 2 weeks from now, on the 21st, still at 6 p.m., we'll be talking about letting go of judging others, which is really valuable experience as well. Letting go, right? Letting go of that judgment. If you do find our times together here, either live or pre-record or recorded sessions, I do ask that you do kindly just, like and subscribe to our channel so you can stay with us and continue your positive mindfulness experience and growth as well. You are always welcome to email us with any questions or suggestions you may have. And we are always so happy to hear from you. And I respond personally to everyone. So you are more than welcome to join us or contact me whatever way you choose. And with that, my friends, until 2 weeks from tonight, I will see you, and I wish you all an evening of peace and ease. Thank you.